Hey there. It's Mr. Credibility, I, Carlos Anaya, We Mad LearnCast intro co-host from the Econ Learning Center channel. Welcome to the We Mad LearnCast, where we elevate minds and dreams. We learn, empathize, achieve, reflect, navigate, create, aspire, share, and transform together. Get ready to dive into a world of inspiration and growth and a better financial IQ besides the one you were wired with when you was a child. Let's make learning an adventure and a personal financial development skill that you should be learning in your school, but you are not. But that's okay, we got you guys. Tune in every Monday nights at 8 p.m. Subscribe to Carlos Econ Learning Center channel at econlearningcenter.com. Don't you dare miss an episode that is meant to change your mindset and way of a better good life.
Americans are wealthier than any people in the history of the world. Yet many are stressed out about their finances. Are people living beyond their means even though their incomes are relatively high? Are they maxing out credit cards and living paycheck to paycheck? Are they saving for unexpected expenses? Can you be financially secure even if you don't make a lot of money? Can ordinary folks invest in the stock market with manageable risk?
The answers to these questions are the beginning of a checklist for what we call financial literacy.
When you talk about the checklist of things that people need to understand to be considered financially literate, I think it delves into a number of categories. It numbers into your basic everyday financial living, the basics of debt, and understanding just sort of what credit card debt means, what mortgage debt means, what a car payment means, budgeting, understanding money in, money out. It's stuff that really sometimes can seem very basic, but clearly is not.
If you're not financially literate, then you have to worry about your spending. You have to worry if when you retire, you can meet your goals.
It all starts with income. Income means the money you have coming in. How do you make your money?
The law of comparative advantage comes in handy when making career choices. Figure out what you do well and enjoy that others value highly.
I've worked very hard and built a successful business, and I don't have to worry anymore in my life about, your month-to-month bills and things like that. But that is true only because I did used to. I didn't have parents to give me money. I didn't have anything to fall back on. There wasn't a safety net. But what I did was rigorously plan and sort of set goals and then try to go about achieving them.
You don't have to own a business to think this way. Start thinking how you can make yourself more valuable to potential employers, coworkers, and customers. How can you do your current job better, even if it is a minimum wage job, internship, or volunteer position? Are you working harder than others? First one there, last one to leave, not texting while on the job. These types of choices help differentiate you from others, and they create value for you in the job market.
Remember, in the real world, you don't get paid for effort, but rather when you create value for others. And managing that money is just as important as earning it. Expenses are money going out. How do you spend the money you've earned? Do you even know where all your money goes? Many people don't.
I could only teach to young people today just one financial literacy skill, a necessity that people understand, is to construct their own financial budget and how they execute upon that. All I mean by this is to understand that there are fixed expenses. They have $3,000 that comes in and they have $2,500 of expenses. They need that fixed expenses, the stuff they have to, your rent, your car payment, your whatever the case may be. They need that number to be lower than what's coming in.
I think the easiest way is the 50-30-20 rule, which is 50% of your monthly income goes towards bills and housing. 30% goes towards finances, which is paying off debt or saving. And the final 20 goes towards entertainment or going out for things that you like to do.
So obviously the fixed have to come first, and you chip those away and those get done, and then applying percentages to the rest. I think there's very little of that goes on. Some of the things that go wrong when one doesn't do it, and this is of course very common, you end up living your life in a way of you're always playing catch up. And it becomes very debilitating when someone gets behind. They may have the benefit of the consumption, then a new paycheck comes, a new bonus comes, and they don't get to enjoy the fruit of it because they're paying off the last toy that they purchased. And so you live behind instead of forward. I think that has a profound impact on one's stress level, but also just their capacity for the enjoyment of life. If people just started with that, the layering of financial priorities in their month to month cash flow planning, I think that would be the immense first step towards financial literacy.
Assets are stuff you own. Everything from your savings account to a house to a car. The road to building assets starts with saving.
The best reason I can offer for why even a high school student with a part-time job should start saving to some degree, just the habit. It's habit forming. That I believe that there is something to be said that for the merit of just getting in the practice of putting aside $5 a week, $10 a week, whatever the number may be.
Save regularly for unexpected expenditures. You know that your car will repair, your cell phone may get stolen, and you may fall ill.
I like to set up a savings account so I don't see that money, because if I see it, then I will spend it. So each paycheck, I take out a certain amount of money towards my bill for my car insurance at the end of the year, and it's automatically moved to the savings account.
So that your paycheck hits your account, and then automatically you have your bank account set to send from your checking account to your savings account, or just electronically off the top. You make your savings a fixed expense. It has to come straight out of your checking account. You're paying yourself first. When that's in place, it opens up a lot of freedom to then go do other investment accounts.
This approach will help you live a life with minimal financial stress and anxiety. It'll help you avoid financial troubles and pitfalls. As you build some savings, make sure to diversify your investments. Remember, never put all your eggs in one basket. Just don't, because if that one basket should fall, well, you get the picture.
When you purchase a stock on the exchange, you're buying into a small piece of that company. So you're getting an interest in that company and you're becoming an owner of that company.
And it entitles you to the stream of profits that company hopefully will make in the future. It has risk because the company may not make it. So the stock market is a way of funding business in America that carries with it an appropriate level of risk and reward.
The best way for somebody to invest in the stock market with a small amount is by purchasing an index fund or an ETF or a mutual fund, because they are getting broad exposure to many different companies instead of just buying one position.
What's all this talk of index funds and mutual funds? A mutual fund is a professionally managed investment portfolio that pulls money from all sorts of investors like you who are looking to diversify their investments. It's the easiest way to ensure you aren't putting all those eggs in one basket. Index funds, or exchange traded funds, ETFs, are similar except that they are managed to match the performance of a particular group of companies, say a group of tech companies or a group of consumer goods companies.
Instead of picking individual stocks, I want to own Apple and I want to own Nike, they might just buy an index that includes a whole basket of these companies together. There's all kinds of different indexes and therefore index funds out there. The most common might be the S&P 500, representing sort of 500 major publicly traded US companies.
With diversification, you can take comfort in knowing that when the value of one asset is down, others will likely be up.
But They want to make sure that the purpose of the money they're putting in is longer term money. The return of the stock market's been very good over time, but there's periods of time where it can be quite volatile. And so that's where one's financial literacy will hopefully lead to them understanding what instruments are good for short term goals, what instruments are good for intermediate goals, and then longer term.
One powerful tool in your plan is compound interest.
Albert Einstein once stated, "The most powerful force in the universe is compound interest." The best way to take advantage of it is to start saving when you're young and investing strategically after you have your real world savings account ready.
Over the course of 20, 30 years of compounding, it's adding hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm saying for regular middle class families, the difference between starting to save at age 50 and starting to save at age 25 can be hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that's just simply from the benefit of time and allowing that money to work for them for a greater period of time.
Even with all of the recessions and expansions of recent and distant past, diversified stock holdings have about a 7% real annual rate of return. Rate of return is extremely important. An asset earning 3% annually will double in value in 23 years. But an asset earning 7% will double in value every 10 years. Investing in the stock market offers opportunities for everyone.
It makes such a difference when you can really exploit the time value of money, when you put time on your side. The leverage they get on that contribution to themselves because of the time value of money is monumental. And there's calculators that people can play with to go see, and they never believe the results. Simple interest would just work like this: you have $100, you earn 5%, you now have 105, and then you're going to make another 5% on that 100. Now you have 110, the next year 115, the next year 120. So that 5% is simply being applied to your original $100. Compounding means that your $100 grows into 105 for the first year, but then 5% gets applied to 105. And let's say that number is 111, and then it gets applied to that. So the numbers start to break apart from the original denominator of the money. And so that's why compounding carries with it just a real special force mathematically. I think that there is really no financial literacy when people don't understand time value of money.
Liabilities are debts you owe. The time value of money can also work against you.
A lot of people get into financial trouble by constantly spending more than they earn. Credit is readily available today. That's both good and bad. It's good because credit can enhance your ability to undertake attractive investments such as a college education or a home.
I fundamentally believe that there's a key difference between buying something with credit that is an asset versus consuming something with credit. Okay, when you go to the pizza place with your friends and use money you don't have, you don't still have the pizza. It is really gone. Whereas when you buy a home,
Pay
you are
attention,
borrowing
guys. Pay
money,
attention to
but
this
you
middle
are
part right here.
purchasing an asset that retains some degree of value. And then assuming that the servicing of that debt, paying that person back with interest, is affordable, it enables you to buy a very expensive asset before you have to save for the whole amount. By being able to make a really sacrificial endeavor to save the down payment and take on an amount of debt that the service of which might even be less than they're paying in rent anyways, or maybe equal to it, then they're building equity. The other example has always been, we talked about student debt, where you're taking on debt, you're going to have to pay it off, but at least you're building an investment into a career, into a future, to education.
But borrowing can be bad. When you borrow to buy things that will soon be of little value, use student loans to go on spring break, or max out credit cards only to pay the minimum amount due. When you recklessly spend more than you earn, your financial anxiety will build as your wealth declines, and you make large interest payments on items you've already consumed.
As a general rule, paying for your vacations and your surfboards and your clothes shopping and your nights out with your friends with credit, well, clearly the asset is gone. You have zero of asset, but you still have the debit. So all you're doing is making yourself poorer by doing that. The avoidance of credit card debt early on is probably one of the great blessings a young person can ever give themselves. It's very debilitating to have to unwind significant credit card debt when you're really trying to get ahead and move forward in your adult life.
It's going to make you a lot less financially secure because you're going to have stress and have to worry about your interest rates going up from not being able to pay off those cards every month.
Someone could get to a point where they're literally spending over $1,000 a month and they're not chipping away at the debt at all. And I think that is what really ends up happening is you get used to the idea. I have a fixed expense of just making a credit card payment. I just paid $700, $800 a month for a credit card payment. And that could be a very high percentage of one's income. It ultimately leads to that kind of exasperation of feeling like you're never getting ahead. You get a raise, but you don't get to save or invest any of the money because you're still getting behind, getting out from being, behind. The worst ramifications of excessive debt have always been emotional. They drain on people's joy. They add to their anxiety, but they take away hope. They take away from that feeling that you can move forward.
So income is the money you earn. Maximize those earning opportunities. Save to build up assets, things you own. Put together a financial plan and limit your expenses and liabilities to things that increase assets or your ability to earn an income.
Most people don't need an education to know how to buy more pizza or go out with their friends more, but it takes education and it takes sacrifice, character traits if one's going to really learn the practice of saving, goal setting, budgeting, things of that nature.
I think the biggest thing with people not knowing about the financial market or not knowing about a plan or saving a budget, any of the things that we discussed today, is because they are afraid that they'll sound stupid or they don't know anything about it. So just don't talk about it at all. But I think that's the worst thing you could do. The more you talk about things, the better you understand them. The more you know, the more you can share.
Successful personal finance is about following sound principles and cultivating them as a way of life, a manner of living. You can enjoy financial security even if your earnings are modest, but it will involve both planning and commitment.
Develop your plan today and resolve to maintain it throughout your life. Your future self will thank you.
Welcome back to Crash Course. In this episode, Carlos is going to do a deep dive into Chapter 3, Exponential Growth, the mysterious fourth E, alongside energy, environment, and economy. Let's explore why understanding it just might change how you see the future. Exponential growth happens when something increases at a rate proportional to its current size. The bigger it gets, the faster it grows, like a snowball rolling downhill. It's described with this equation, y yachts. Simple, right? But incredibly powerful. At first, exponential growth looks harmless. It starts off slow, almost invisible. Then suddenly it takes off. Here's a mind bender: the doubling time. If something grows 7 foot per year, it doubles in just 10 years. At 10%, it doubles in 7 years. Exponential growth isn't just for textbooks. It's shaping our population, economy, energy use, and even technology like AI. But here's the problem. Our brains think in straight lines. The world, it curves upward. That mismatch can cause us to miss big warning signs until it's too late. That's why exponential growth is the fourth E. It amplifies the other three. It's not a side note, it's the driver. The solution? Learn to spot the curve before it curves. Track trends early. Build systems that grow smart, not fast. And educate others just like you're doing now. So the next time you see something growing fast, ask yourself, is this exponential? And what happens next? Thanks for watching Crash Course. See you in Chapter 4.
In the crash course, we will learn a few foundational key concepts. None are more important than exponential growth. Understanding this will greatly enhance our chances to form a better future. Here's a classic chart displaying exponential growth, a chart pattern that is often called a hockey stick. We are charting an amount of something over time. The only requirement for a graph to end up looking like this is that the thing being measured grows by some percentage over each increment of time. The slower the percentage rate of growth, the greater the length of time we'd need to chart in order to visually see this hockey stick shape. Another thing I want you to take away from this chart is that once an exponential function turns the corner, even though the percentage rate of growth might remain constant and possibly quite low, the amounts do not. They pile up faster and faster. In this particular case, you are looking at a chart of something that historically grew at less than 1% per year. It is world population, and because it is only growing at roughly 1% per year, we need to look at several thousands of years to detect this hockey stick shape. The green is history, and the red is the most recent UN projection of population growth for just the next 42 years. Certainly by now, math-minded folks might be getting a little uncomfortable because they might feel I'm not presenting this information in a classical or even very accurate way. Where mathematicians have been trained to define exponential growth in terms of the rate of change, we are going to focus on the amount of change. Both are valid, it's just that one way is easier to express as a formula, and the other way is easier for most people to intuitively grasp. Unlike the rate of change, the amount of change is not constant. It grows larger and larger with every passing unit of time, and that's why it's more important for us to appreciate than the rate. This is such an important concept that I will dedicate the next chapter to illustrating it. Also, mathematicians would say that there's no turn the corner stage of an exponential chart, because this is just an artifact of where we draw the left-hand scale. That is, an exponential chart can nearly always look like a hockey stick at every moment in time, as long as we adjust the left axis properly. But if we know the limits or boundaries of what we are measuring, then we can fix the left axis, and the turn the corner stage is absolutely real and vitally important. For example, the total carrying capacity of the Earth for humans is thought to be somewhere in this zone, give or take a few billion. Because of this, the turn the corner stage is very real and not an artifact of graphical trickery. The critical takeaway for exponential functions, one thing I want you to recall, relates to the concept of speeding up. You can think of the key feature of exponential growth either as the amount that is added growing larger over each additional unit of time, or you can think of it as the time shrinking between each additional unit of amount added. Either way, the theme is speeding up. To illustrate this using population, if we started with 1 million people and set the growth rate to a measly 1% per year, we'd find that it would take 694 years before we achieved a billion people. But we'd be at 2 billion people after only 100 more years, while a third billion would require just 41 more years. Then 29 years, then 22, and then finally only 18 years to add another to bring us to 6 billion people. That is, each additional billion people took a shorter and shorter amount of time to achieve. Here we can see the theme of speeding up. This next chart is of oil consumption, perhaps the most important resource of them all. which has been growing at the much faster rate of nearly 3% per year. So we can detect the hockey stick shape over the course of just 150 years. And here, too, we can fix the left axis with some precision because we know with reasonable accuracy how much oil the world can maximally produce. So again, having turned the corner is an extremely relevant and important event to us. And here's the US money supply, which has been compounding at incredible rates, ranging between 5 and 18% per year. So this chart only needs to be a few decades long to see this hockey stick effect. And here's worldwide water use, species extinction, fisheries exploited, and forest cover lost. Each one of these is a finite resource, as are many other critical resources, and quite a few are approaching their limits. And here is the world you live in. If it seems like the pace of change is speeding up, well, that's because it is. You happen to live at a time when humans will finally have to confront the fact that our exponential money system and resource use will encounter hard physical limits. And behind all of this, driving every bit of every graph, is the number of people on the surface of the planet. Taken one at a time, any one of these charts could command the full attention of every earnest person on the face of the planet. But we need to understand that they are, in fact, all related and interconnected. They are all compound graphs, and they are all being driven by compounding forces. To try and solve one, you'd need to understand how it relates to the other ones that you see, as well as others not displayed here, because they all intersect and overlap. The fact that you live here, in the presence of multiple exponential graphs relating to everything from money to population to species extinction, has powerful implications for your life and the lives of those who will follow you. It deserves your very highest attention. Let's move on to an example that will help you better understand these graphs. Please join me for Chapter 4, Compounding's the Problem. Thank you for listening. The purpose of this mini presentation is to help you understand the power of compounding. If something, such as a population, oil demand, a money supply, anything, steadily increases in size as a proportion of its current size, you get a graph that looks like this, a hockey stick. Said more simply, if something is increasing over time on a percentage basis, it's growing exponentially. Using an example drawn from a magnificent paper by Dr. Albert Bartlett, let me illustrate the power of compounding to you. Suppose I had a magic.
Well, there you have it, guys. Gonna stop there because the power, the problem is compounding, is coming in the next episode, which will be episode number 6. So stay tuned every Monday nights at 8 p.m. Go to the website that you see on the screen, econlearningcenter.org. All right. So let's do a recap. So what is exponential growth? It's the fourth E in the crash course, understanding how our lives are shaped by exponential growth can help anticipate and prepare for the future, guys. So what is exponential growth? Exponential growth occurs when its quantity actually increase by a fixed percentage, leading to a rapid ace eradicating rise in value over time. So the doubling effect is a key feature of exponential growth, is that quantities have a constant doubling time. So why exponential growth matters, you know, when it comes to energy, environment, exponential growth. Exponential growth impacts all aspects of our lives. Enough to consider this alongside energy, environment, and economy. Now, in the real world example, let's say the population growth, which is happening now. There's a lot of people in the world. There's more people than resources, guys. So, and when it comes to the economy, there's so much money for the rich, not for the middle class. Why is that? Why is that there's not so much money for the middle class? Why? Because they're not financially educated like the rich. So you have to think like the rich to become, wealthy, you know, not quickly, but create a plan to become wealthy, a action plan that can help you, with your economic growth. The key word is your economic growth, not the world economic growth, your economic growth. But you also you have to follow the world economic growth to create your wealth economic growth. When you start learning financial literacy, that intertwines with writing down your goals to find your actual purpose of what you're good at in your life that can help you, make that extra income that you seek, help you get your why, your plan B, to protect yourself from your plan A and your entire household, and your entire life, live that good life that you're looking for. All right. Now, when it comes to energy, we as individuals have energy inside us. That's why we drink water. We have oxygen inside. We have a heart. You know, in order for that heart to pump, you need energy. Energy is exercise, right? You know, in order for your brain to pump, you gotta feed it good things. You know, purple things, purple colored fruits. All right, that's good for your brain. Remember that. And then when it comes to technology, you know, you gotta catch up to it. If you don't catch up to it, uh, you're not gonna get wealthy. You know, you have to take advantage of the technology that's happening now in this world. You know, before it eradicates. You know, before you left behind. All right. So when Econ Learning Center channel, my organization, I teach you how to do that. We teach you how to do that. Again, I'm not the only one. I have instructors that could teach you financial literacy. I'm not alone, guys. I can express it. I am not alone. All right. I have a group of educators that are ready to teach and are looking for students inside my facility and also online. So again, and the technology, you will learn it inside my facility because I have computers. I also have the metaverse and so on and so on. I also could teach you right through your cell phone. You could take my classes right through the cell phone, financial literacy classes and master classes and stuff like that. So again, it's called the doubling effect, which is growth. Growth seems as a low at first, but it rapidly becomes overwhelming once the doubling effect kicks in. So the key feature of exponential growth is that quantities have a constant doubling time. So imagine you having $10 and you put the $10 a month on Bitcoin. Yes, you're going to have Bitcoin, but you're going to have a little bit of Bitcoin because you have to wait 10 months. I mean, 12, 30 days, which is a month, just to put $10 on Bitcoins. Imagine you put in $10 a week on Bitcoin. Will you get more money? Yes, you will accumulate more money. That's when the compound will start. The timing of compound interest will start. You know, but let's say if you can afford it daily, $10 every day to a Bitcoin account or Ethereum every day coming out either of your credit card or either on your checking account. In my opinion, with my strategy, I do it with a credit card. Why I do it with a credit card? Because on the credit card, you could invest on the specific time. Now, when it comes to your hard earned money and your job, then you have to wait to get paid, then to invest. So that's why I always say to boost up your credit score 720 or more. That way, you can use one credit card to invest, one credit card for emergency, purposes, and one credit card for miscellaneous stuff that you probably might need in the house, or you probably might need some brakes in your car, and so on and so on. All right, three credit cards, the most. All right, one for 1,000, one for 3,000, and the other one for 1,000. That's all you need, guys. 311, which is $5,000 in total. All right. Then you could take one of those credit cards to invest just $10 every single day. At the end of the week, if you get paid weekly, you multiply that by 5 days, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. That's $50, guys. $50. So you specifically use that credit card to invest either on Bitcoin or open a money market account with 4.35 interest, and you could put money on that account, the money market's keeping account, I call it, and you don't spend a dime on it. You're just basically taking credit money and make it into your money. Sounds simple, right? Yes, it is. And if you have a business, even better. But that's basically when you start using the technology, which is a software that's going to help you create a budget, not only for your debts, not only for your expensive household expenses, but also for your investment. And then what's left of that is your discretionary income. After you pay everything, you should have money left over, you know? And this is what the crash course is going to show you. Again, now what I'm going to do, a recap of what the exponential growth is all about. So I'm going to go deeper into it. All right. So listen to what I have to say. Now, here's a concise recap of your LearnCast, of the LearnCast episode on chapter 3, Exponential Growth, which I call it the fourth E. Is a ideal for handouts, course notes, or video descriptions. That's what I just showed you guys. I showed you a beginning, a ending of the exponential growth, a more understanding about what it's all about. And I also gave you an example with your credit card and also your checking account. All right. So if you want to learn more about that, just get in contact with me. Subscribe to my website, econlearningcenter.org. You know, and there you can subscribe there, and you can also ask me questions when you go to my website. There's a video. You watch the video first, for you to understand what I do and how I teach others and help others not only to get out of debt, but also boost up their credit and also invest the right way with little money to become a lot of money in a long term, not short term. All right. I have a little short term, but long term is the key, guys. All right. And for those who are older, I have, you know, short term investments also too. So again, the title of this LearnCast, which is episode 5, it was basically about the fourth E. You got energy, you got the environment, right? You got the economy, and now you got exponential growth, which is one of the ones that is huge because it all connects. All four of them connect. In order for the world to run the way it is, They all have to connect every single day. All right. So why exponential growth changes everything in life? So why? You see, exponential growth occurs when something grows at a rate proportional to its current value. So instead of adding the same amount each period, like in linear growth, exponential growth multiplies, creating a curve that starts to slow and then accelerate rapidly. That's what happens when you invest with your credit card with little money to become a lot of money. Like for example, if you take $10, right, and you invest it on a 360 account, $10 every day, in the 360 account, $10 every day, or on a stock or S&P 500 index, and you invest on 500 stocks, and you don't only put $10 every day. Check this out. Pay attention. $10 every day taken out of your credit card. $10 every day. You multiply 10 times 30. That's $300 in a month. So at the end of the month, you just invested $300. And now when you hit the compound interest and the yield, those $300 could become $400 or more, depending how the index fund does. But let's go to the safe side. Let's say you don't want to get in the stock market and you just want to get into a 360 money market account. Same process. $10 every day, if you could do it, uh, it's still 300, and then the compound interest will be 4.35%. So it might increase like 50 to $100. So it's the same process, guys. It's the same process. The only thing, when it comes to the 360, you can see your money. It's like not like your 401k that you're working so much and so much, and you don't see your money until you go to the computer and see it. And next thing you know, the economy goes down, and your 401k goes down too. So it's not safe. So I can show you how to do it with Bitcoin. I can show you how to do it with a money market account. And if you have a business, I can show you how to pay your business first before you pay anybody else. And I can show you how to pay yourself first before you pay anybody else. A little money becomes a lot of money in the long run. That's what exponential growth is all about, guys. So, there's a formula for this, guys. There's a formula. When you learn financial literacy, you learn this formula. Y equals A, point B, T. Y equals A, point B, T. Where? What it means. A equals starting amount, you know. B equals growth factor. T equals the time. For example, $100 growing at 10% interest annually, that's $259 after 10 years. So it sneaks up slowly, then explodes. Why is the fourth E of exponential growth shapes the three cores of E's, which is energy, economy, environment, you know, in this course, in the crash course. Because energy consumption increase exponentially. Environment emission, reforestation, and waste scale with growth. you know. Now the economy, debt, GDP, and markets are all powered by compound systems. For those who didn't know that, exponential exponential patterns can escalate challenges if we don't recognize them early. So when you learn financial literacy, you're gonna recognize these trends. So, doubling effect is called the doubling effect, rule of thumb. Doubling time growth rate, which is interest. A 7% growth rate means doubling every 10 years. Example, a city using 1 billion gallons of water will need 8 billion in just 30 years. So small growth today, big impact tomorrow. That's what I just explained to you with money. Real world impacts exponential growth appears in population. More people, more demand. Technology, computing, and AI evolve exponentially. That's what's going on right now, bro. Finance, compound interest grows savings and debts. Again, compound interest grows savings and debts. You want to be in the savings side, not in the debt side. As long as it's an investment, it's an asset that's giving you that you get in debt, but it's giving you money back, double the debt that you have. Feel me? Climate COO2 is warming accelerating, which is the global warming. This isn't just mathematics, it's real life. The exponential blind spot. Humans tend to think in straight lines, but real world change often happens exponentially. This mismatch causes us to underestimate our lives. Disease outbreaks, automation AI impact, climate tipping points. Understanding exponential growth helps us anticipate instead of just reacting. You got that? What can we do? You gotta track early small signals matter. Track our trends early. Rethink growth. Learn financial literacy. Infinite growth on finite planet isn't sustainable, you know? Educate others about financial literacy, your community. Awareness is the first step towards action. So you have to be aware of something to take action. Really? You know? What's stopping you? Aren't you aware of what's going on in the world already? Why are you not learning financial literacy? I got a question for you guys. If you're watching this episode of my We Might LearnCast, I got a question for you guys. Why are you not taking a financial literacy course when they are free online? They are free inside my facility. 2 hour course can change your financial IQ. Did you know that? Think about it. Register. Take my challenge. Take my 10 days challenge. See? Now, you're already ahead just by learning this. Just by you tuning in to my We Might LearnCast every single Monday nights at 8 p.m., you are already ahead just by learning this. All right? Again, I'm just doing this every single Monday nights at 8 p.m. for 1 hour. No more than that. I don't want you guys to get bored, you know. I want to entertain you guys and also educate you. Send you any financial education IQ journey, the one that you've been missing for years that they never taught you in school. So the final thought exponential growth isn't just a math topic, it's a lens of understanding the most urgent challenges of our time, of our life. When you see exponential trends, ask what happens next and what can we do about it. Keep learning, keep preparing, keep thinking exponentially. Stay tuned to episode number 6, chapter 4. Compounding is the problem. That's all I have to say, guys. So Thank you very much for tuning in. And again, stay tuned for episode number 6. Make sure you register to Econ Learning Center for you could tune in to episode number 6. Now, what I want you to do, guys, for everybody that tuned in, congratulations. I'm going to give you something free, which is going to be Credit Versio free software. What I want you guys to do is watch this video.
No more living with bad credit. No more feeling left out. No more hours trying to fix it. Introducing Credit Versio, the most advanced credit repair system ever created. And it doesn't belong to a credit repair company. It belongs to you. Credit Versio brings TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax to you, all in one place, without creating an inquiry. So you can repair your own credit on all 3 credit bureaus. See your entire credit report and the accounts hurting your credit. Tap the accounts you'd like to dispute and remove. Select from the drop-down menu. And Credit Versio's brilliant dispute generator does the rest. Dispute as many accounts as you want, all at once on all 3 credit bureaus. Credit Versio tracks every one of them and updates you with the results and your new credit scores. Credit Versio is a credit repair expert, so you don't have to be. It lets you know if an account wasn't deleted, then guides you through additional steps for accounts that need a little more work. All while providing step-by-step help from real credit experts. Credit Versio is free and links to your existing or new Identity IQ or Smart Credit 3-bureau account. Improve your credit for as long as you need. Cancel when you're satisfied with the results. No more expensive credit repair companies. No more waiting for results. Fixing your own credit used to be hard. Credit Versio made it easy. Say goodbye to hard. Say hello to Credit Versio.
So there you have it, guys. Here's the website. Get your free credit repair software at www.creditversio.com. Get it there, register, put your name, your email, then give me a call. Give me a call at the number that you're going to see on the screen. So that's the end of my We Mad LearnCast episode number 5. All right. So again, you can scan the QR code, and it goes directly into my We Mad LearnCast. So if you miss any episodes, you can scan that QR code and it goes directly to part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even this one that you're seeing right now. All right. Now, to subscribe to my We Mad LearnCast, to subscribe to my website, is all connected. You can go to www.econlearningcenter.org. And if you want to register to my online classes or on-site classes inside my facility in Prospect, Connecticut, all you have to do is just register at 203-266-1173. Just leave your name and an email or a phone number where I can reach you, so I could set you up on the time that is available for you. All right. This is Carlos Anaya from Econ Learning Center, and tune in for episode number 6. Compounding is the problem, guys, but it's also a good thing too. You have a great day. God bless. So there you have it, guys. Don't forget to tune in to episode number 6.